Well, hello everyone. I am back again here from my own personal greenhouse. Oh my goodness. So it has not been a very productive few days because it's just too darn hot in here. So my air still is not working. They did call me on Friday, and good news is my part is under warranty. Bad news is the Freon is not. So they're saying worst case scenario, $1,720 to fix my air. I'm like, ugh, oh my goodness. Then add the cost of the two window shaker units that I purchased just to try and keep a small area of the house cool. Oh, so that was like $400. But those things, they are so loud. They are just loud. That, and I picked up a box fan to try and pull some of the cool air into this room, because I told you I can't plug one of those in here because I would have to run an extension cord, and it says that the extension cord trick is like a fire hazard, and that freaked me out from being able to do that. So that plan was scratched. So I have one window shaker unit in the living room and one in the dining room, and the way my house is set up, it's like, here's the living room, go forward a little, like it comes over this way, come up a little, it's the dining room, and then just over here, kind of like a Z, but not at an angle, like a boxy Z. So the living room, dining room, and kitchen area is basically cool. And just out that door there would go into the dining room. So I have a box fan, which is not running now because it is extremely loud, that is pulling some cool air into this room for me so that I can try and at least get through my work day until I can gather my things together and go out into the other room. But it's just so loud. You got those two units running, you've got fans running, and if you turn the TV on, it's like major noise pollution. It's just like, oh, I cannot wait for this to be fixed. So I haven't been too productive. But what I did do is a certain someone whose name we will not mention likes to pick on me about the amount of yarn that I have. So with doing these plushies, my yarn collection has kind of grown. I had to get extra shelving to have a place to put it so that I wasn't tripping over boxes. So what I did was, to counteract his, oh, you've got a lot of yarn, is I made a shirt, and I am a professional yarn collector. So anybody gives you a bunch of hoo-ha about how much yarn you might have, just tell them that you are a professional yarn collector, and hopefully that shuts them down. So for the little bit of makes that I did this week, or I should say this weekend, 3 days, I think, since I was last here. The little frog that I tried doing, that the eye fell out because the yarn's just too thick and the safety eye wouldn't stick. And I said I didn't like how patchy the little heart-shaped belly was. That noise you're hearing, Toby is in here with me. He wants to come on camera as soon as he's finished getting into whatever he's getting into over there and say hello to everybody. But yeah, so I didn't like the heart shape where you can see the mix of the stitches and everything in it. And so I tried it a different way, and I tried doing the eyes differently. Most people, the consensus was, do not use the hot glue to hold the eye in. So I'm not going to do that. I didn't feel comfortable with it, but then with so many people saying don't do it, I agree. I am not going to do that. So I stitched the eyes on myself. It kind of looks a little funny. His mouth isn't in that great a shape. I just made a circle and sewed it on his belly to give him color. So with a little practice, I think I can get the eyes a little better. And unless you know where I can get small felt eyes, the only felt eyes that I'm coming across when I look for them, they're an inch or bigger, and obviously this won't hold an inch. And I did have some punches to punch out the felt, but I used my punch like 3 times on the felt and it's stuck. I can't get it out. So it's just kind of like hanging out. So the idea of me cutting my own felt circles ended very quickly. So he, this is the Premier Chenille Basics, Brights, something like that, in the 2 shades of green that I ordered. I like the 2 colors of green, and it does come out considerably smaller than the Bernat blanket frog came out. But he's cute. He's, you know, a nice little size for a little kid. And yeah, I will figure out how to do these eyes one way or another. I am determined to figure out these eyes. Whew. I'm going to have to clip my hair up. It's starting to get warm in here with the door closed. So we have the frog. And then that was like the first thing that I did. And considering everything that was going on, I kind of got in a black and white mood. I'm sorry, got to get this hair off my neck. So I was playing with some things that I could do in black and white. Now I was super bummed because I had bought this pattern a while back and I hadn't gotten around to it. But because I felt like working with the black and white, you know, what better to do in black and white than, say, a panda? Now, I'm going to insert the picture over here of the person that designed the patterns panda, because mine's not even close. I felt like there's something severely lacking in the directions. So basically, you're sewing on his little snout and you're sewing on the ears. The arms and the legs get crocheted in, and the little tail, you just kind of like tie it in there as you're doing your rounds. But hers, the head, let me squish it down, it fits on the body more like that. But there was something like majorly lacking in the instructions on how to do this. So I'm going to try, I don't know if I'll be able to do it, to cut that the black stitching there and see if I can't reattach his head. Like, I don't know, something is missing in the instruction. And this was from Toy Story Patterns AU off of Etsy. And theirs is so cute looking. I really, really wanted to do one. It looks so cute. But something is not right with this, the way the head is attached. They left out some important information in the directions. So, yeah, my panda bear didn't turn out so hot. Still being in a black and white mood, I found this other panda, which looks absolutely nothing like that panda. So I found this other panda pattern. It was on Instagram, just happened to come across my feed, and it's like, how do you know? How do they know what I am doing? They're spying on me. So this little panda is called a pocket panda. I can talk. And I think except for the ears, I don't remember now. I think except for the ears, it was all no sew. I think you had to go back and attach. Or actually, no, that's crocheted on. So you come back and you crochet the ears onto it. So it doesn't look anything like the other panda. Nowhere close, but I guess you kind of get the idea that it's kind of a panda. I don't know. Yeah. And still in a black and white mood, just one more thing. I did one of the little mushroom pops in black and white using Bernat Baby for the white, because the regular Bernat blanket white to me seems like it is way thicker than the colored yarn, and this is a regular Bernat in black. So I did a little mushroom pop, and this is from Cable and Canvas off of Etsy. So interesting, you know, a lot of people like black and white. Then I got another mermaid pattern. I already had one, and my other one I have only tried in acrylic. It was this one, if you remember. And it wasn't too difficult. If I remember correctly, I didn't have very much fun with the tail fins, but once I got past that point, it was okay. So there was this one. It was a little pricey, and so there was this one. It was a little pricey, but you get like all different kinds of ways to do the hair, ways to do the little ruffle, with or without having a top. We don't want our tatas showing, so she's got to have a top on, unless you're making a merman. So I picked up this other pattern that is completely no-sew for a mermaid. Not quite as detailed as this one. Now this one is acrylic, and this one is in the Premier Parfait Chunky. And I thought that this would be an easy pattern to do, but I really struggled. I had to, side note, these little fluffs that come off the yarn, you ever see them just kind of like move and you think there's a spider on your desk or the floor or wherever that little fluff might be? That happens to me about 50 times a day, because there's little fluffs everywhere. Everywhere. So back to this. I did struggle with this. It was a little confusing the way it was written. So I did the fins. You start with the fins and then you connect and start working up. But somewhere in the connection part, I messed up. Now, mind you, I have to not be in my comfort zone when I'm working on this. And the lighting in the living room is not as good as where I normally work. So I think lighting was part of the issue. I think Toby, wherever he ran off to, was part of the issue. And not to mention, it was starting to get late. So I had to frog out this part a couple of times, and I finally got it. You work your way up, and then you get to the color changes. And in the back is where your color changes are. And the instructions will tell you wherever you might be to add a few stitches and come over to the middle of the back. Well, then those few stitches that you did, like say you had to do 4, are 4 of the next round's stitches. And it just like was very confusing. So each time there was a color change, that was the case. So when I got to the part where the arms go, I guess I should have been way off, but I wasn't. And it says do 1 single crochet and attach the arm. Well, if I would have done the way the instructions said, her arm would have been in the middle of her back. I don't know. So I just kind of had to make it work out with it, getting the arms to the sides of the body and not in the back and the front. And then the hair wasn't hard, but it wasn't like my favorite. So the front strands are supposed to be longer than the others, and somehow you whip it back and these strands are supposed to hold it, but I couldn't figure out how that happened. So I added a few more and then took a little piece of the yellow and just kind of made it stay up, kind of. So when you do the hair part, you do around with like back loop only so that you have the front loops to work into. And this yarn just naturally curls on its own. You're not doing anything special. You're just stretching it and making a slip stitch, moving over to the thing, pull it out, and it does its own little curly thing. So you end up with the mermaid head looking like one of those 1950s Barbies where the center of the head is like bald and you have to pull all the hair up into a ponytail. So my thought was, when you get to that round, there's not very many rounds left. If you did all those rounds in the back loop and had those front loops to work in, you can give her a full head of hair, not have to make it as long. Might take you a little bit longer, but then you wouldn't have to worry about, you know, because whoever buys it, this is going to come down and they're going to see this bald head. So I don't know. So considering my first time making it in the dark, in a very noisy setting with a very active Toby running around, I think I did okay. But I do think I like this one better. This one now, I shouldn't really judge because I think you can get better detail with the acrylic yarn than you can with the plush yarn. And I think that makes part of the difference, especially like with the face. Because it basically, I mean, it's kind of the same. You're giving it that blank same color nose. But this head has better shape than this one does. But no-sew versus not no-sew, but mostly no-sew. Yeah, I don't know. But I do think I like this one better. So we have the mermaids. And then I made a couple more avocados. Because, you know, I'm working towards filling my tray. So this one says, Avo, always love you. And this one, I can tell my tension was way different between the two because this one's just a little bit smaller, but that is okay. I am fine with that. This one says, you guac my world. Now, you don't have to put these little patches on it. I just think they add to it. And I got those from this very nice lady that I ran across her shop on Etsy. And yeah, so this pattern, I forgot to tell you, the mermaid pattern was from Madeline Mako off of Etsy. I didn't forget anybody else. Okay, so in this pattern, the avocado is my own pattern because I looked and I couldn't find anything because I wanted to use these little patches on it that didn't have the avocado seed pit, whatever you want to call it, where it bulged out or it was removable. So I'm like, I got to figure it out on my own. So I made my own pattern, and it is available in my Etsy shop. So I did 2 of those. And then, I know this sounds like I did a lot, but I really didn't do a lot. Because usually I have a whole bunch of stuff to show you guys. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With 2 of those being the 2 avocados. But for the most part, like the frog was quick, the little pocket panda was quick, the little mushy was quick. The avocados are really quick. I spent the most of my time was on the panda and the mermaid, and neither one of them worked out right. So I wanted to do a hedgehog. And the pattern that I really, really liked, I said, nope, I'm not going to buy it because it was from the same person who did the pattern, or the panda pattern. And I was like, if it's missing instructions and my hedgehog doesn't end up looking like hers in the picture or really close to it, I'm going to be upset. And I don't want to be upset. So I said, I can figure this out on my own. I can make my own darn hedgehog. So I did. And I think, now I did 3 of them. This was my first one that I did. And I was taking notes as I went so that hopefully I could recreate it. So he is all no-sew, except for the ears. But the ears, you can attach them before you get to all the stuffing and everything. So this one is my favorite. And this one is with the Premier Parfait Chunky. So then I was like, well, let me see how big it's going to be and how it would look using the Bernat blanket. And this one was the first one. And I don't have a huge color choice on the Bernat blanket, but I felt like I needed to, I don't know why, but this color needed to be a lighter shade of whatever this color was. I didn't do that on here, but for some reason I just felt like that had to be like that, and that's not true. It can be any way you want it to be. So I did this one. I think this one is cuter because I think it's because of the size. I mean, there is a big size difference. And again, he's all no-sew, except for the ears, which can be attached before you do all the stuffing. And then I was looking at pictures of real hedgehogs online, and a lot of them, the little nose snout part is like the same color as the their fluffiness on their back. I don't know what you'd call that. So I tried doing that, and not real fond of this one. So on this one, because I was working in the dark, I did this yesterday, and I redid the nose twice. That's just embroidered on. But I confused myself with trying to do the color changes here, and I lost track of my rows. Like, my eyes are 1 row too far back, which made my ears 1 row too far back. But I mean, it's all right, I guess. But this one is my favorite. But I will say I am partial to the Parfait Chunky. I like how it feels. I like that the size is kind of small. However, I do like the Bernat blanket, that it makes the same pattern so much bigger, and there are some things in it that I like to use the Bernat for. But this so far, of the plush yarns that I have tried, the Parfait Chunky is my favorite. As messy as it is, with all those little fluffies moving around, making me think I got a spider coming at me. That's my favorite. So, I am looking if anybody is interested in a few people to test this pattern. Now, where I need help is I'm having difficulty expressing in writing. I can tell you verbally what to do, but expressing in writing where it makes sense on how to do this part. So I took a ton of pictures while I was making this one, hoping that pictures would make sense. So it's still in pencil and paper. I have to type it up. But if anybody's interested in testing out the pattern, like I said, it's no-sew except for the little ears, but you attach those before you even stuff the thing, which makes it so much easier. Just send me an email, like 4 or 5 people would be great if anybody's interested. If not, no big deal, no pressure. I missed a wonderful opportunity this week. John is in the Colorado mountains right now, and I was also invited, and Jenna as well was invited. He works for these fantastic people. They bought his plane ticket out there. They have a house that has like a mother-in-law separate pool house, whatever you want to call it, type thing. And so he's got his own room. Now, I could have gone, but I had 3. Well, at first it was 2 reasons why I said no. And then it became 3 with the air conditioner. 1, I did not want to leave Jenna here by herself. We're in a wooded area, and we got some like questionable neighbors. So with them not seeing John coming and going in my car out there, and just the normal movements of the house, I was afraid to leave Jenna here by herself. The other thing is I had to register for federal jury duty. Now, I've never had to do that before. Regular stuff for like the county, yes, but federal, no. So you go online, you register, and then you have to wait to hear from them. And I haven't heard anything. And I'm like, it would be my luck. I would land in Colorado and get the email saying I had to report on Monday morning. So I was a little skeptical about that. And then, of course, the AC broke, and somebody, an adult, grown adult, needed to be here to handle that situation. But I didn't feel like John should be penalized and miss out on this opportunity to go be out in the mountains where the weather's so much cooler and having a good time. Like today, they're taking a hot air balloon ride. I have never, I'm not sure that I would because I don't like heights, but I have never been on a hot air balloon. I mean, how fun would that be? So they're supposed to do the hot air balloon ride. They've got some fishing trip planned, which John loves. And what was the other thing? Oh, there was something else, like they were going to drive over into Utah for something. Life happens, but I missed out on a good opportunity. Anyhow, I hope he's having a blast. He's probably scared to death up in that balloon. I know I would be. Like, I'd be sitting down inside the basket where I couldn't see anything because I just do not do heights. For example, when my first house that I had, my oldest was like kindergarten, 1st grade. I needed to paint the trim because the city of St. Pete was like really picky about things. So I had to paint the trim on my house. Or they'd give me a citation, and then it's so much a day, blah, blah, blah. So I got tired of going up and down the ladder painting this trim. So I said, well, I could just get up on the roof and then lean over the side and paint the edges. And I was fine doing that. And it went so much faster until it came time to get down. And then I was stuck. I am just sitting there on the top of the roof. Now the ladder is over at the lowest point, which wasn't much more than 6 feet, 7 feet at the most. And I was just absolutely petrified and could not swing my leg over to get onto that ladder to get off the roof. So I sat there till somebody came home to help me. And that, of course, was back, before cell phones. If you had a mobile phone, it was one of them big giant things in your car, and, you were rich. And I was not rich. But I don't do heights. It just, I don't know what happened at some point. Because when I was a kid, well, no, I can't say that. Because when I was a kid, I remember this one day we're climbing up this tree and we get to this one branch and everybody's jumping off. And I'd been doing it all day long. And then finally I get up there and I'm supposed to jump and I couldn't do it. And I had been doing it all day long. Just all of a sudden, I couldn't do it. So the other kids had to run home and get my dad. My dad had to come and get me out of the tree. And it wasn't that high because he could reach me from the ground. But when you're a little kid, it seems like it's really high. But yeah, so John's having a blast in Colorado. And we're melting. So, all right. Maybe. Oh, the other thing was, I was watching my lovely friend Caroline from Caroline for the Love of Crochet, her latest video, and she does a lot of stuff with the amigurumi. Not so much the plushie, more with the acrylic yarns, but she loves to do bunnies, and she has just all kinds of stuff, but she's got like a ton of projects going. And she's making her daughter a granny square blanket. It's kind of like, you know, just a hodgepodge, all different types of granny squares, kind of like a potluck or whatever. She used my crescent moon pattern for her daughter's blanket. And I'm like, oh, I feel so privileged that she picked my tutorial to use. And she's putting that in a blanket that she's making for her daughter. That made me feel really special. So thank you, Caroline. I wanted you to know that that really made me special. I forgot Toby was going to say hello. He's sleepy. Yeah. Say hi, Toby. Say hi, baby. He's being good right now because he needs a little nap. Doesn't he look mischievous? Just look at that look on his face. Aww. Yeah, be a good boy now. Look at your dirty chin. Look at your dirty chin. He's such an aggressive eater, he makes a mess. He gets food on his nose. Oh, no biting. He gets food on his nose and under his chin there. See? And then lots of eye boogers, which were just cleaned last night, and he gets up this morning and he has more. But the vet says that's normal for kittens. But here he is. Everybody wanted to see him. He's not so teeny tiny cute anymore. He's getting big. He's going to be a beast. He is huge. Say hi, Toby. Tell everybody hi. Yeah, say hi to everybody. No? Okay. And on that note, I am going to say goodbye and get this door open and get some air flowing back into here. And I can see you over in this video maybe, or I don't know. We'll see you next time anyways.